Is the legacy Realm of Terror, the creaky floorboard that time forgot, or the missing vertebra in survival horror's spine? Rhetorical, sure, but I'm contractually obligated to answer, so stand by. Dropped onto DOS shelves in March 1993 by MicroProse. Yes, the flight sim and hex map people. This first-person RPG straps you into a Beacon Hill mansion where Lovecraftian ichor seeps beneath Art Deco skirting boards, and in the game's most unforgettable running joke, a battered boombox can stun carrion demons if you dare crank the volume. Underrated or overrated? Neither. It's criminally unrated, lost in the shadow of shareware doom machines, hogging every 386 at the mall kiosk. Essential or skippable? If you trace survival horror genealogy from Alone in the Dark to Resident Evil, omitting the legacy is like airbrushing Australopithecus out of the anthropology chart. The silhouette looks sleeker, but the story no longer stands upright. Historical context: MicroProse circa 1992 was neck-deep in F-15 cockpit dials and Sid Meier spreadsheets, so a haunted house RPG from that logo felt like spotting Stephen Hawking hosting a cooking show. The design crew hailed from Magnetic Scrolls, British parser royalty of the Pawn fame, freshly liberated from Text Adventures implosion. Their mandate: fuse Dungeon Master grid marching with texture-mapped VGA corridors and keep the cast list to exactly one for maximum Alone in the Dark dread. Marketing trumpeted single-player terror in real time, right next to bullet points for Sound Blaster compatibility. A combo that made my local software etc. clerk gush real screams, dude, while ringing up joystick refills. Genre landmarks were wet cement. Alone in the Dark, 1992, had delivered polygon puppetry inside Derseo, but the term survival horror wouldn't crystallize until Biohazard hit Japan in 96. Meanwhile, Ultima Underworld, 1992, proved you could weld immersive simulation to first-person perspective without detonating your VGA palette. Into that ferment shuffled the legacy, real-time, grid-bound, weirdly modern despite DOS memory contortions that turned AutoExec Bat into a boss fight of its own. I sacrificed a Saturday to EMM 386 tinkering so the title screen's John Broomhall organs could rattle my beige speakers. Worth it. Mechanics: the interface that ate Windows 3.1. Booting the game slaps you with 5 draggable windows you may arrange like Proto-Photoshop: viewport, inventory doll, message log, spellbook tabs, and the compass rows of exits. The compass flashes cardinal points, plus up, down, in, out, only if the adjacent square exists. Instant cartographic comfort in a house that loves to move walls when your back is turned. Character creation feels intimate for DOS. You're sculpting a lone heir, not a six-pack of murder hobos. Strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, and willpower drive everything from door kicking to sanity checks. Choose unwisely, and the first ghoul you eyeball could root you to the parquet while it nibbles your ankles. Combat: magic, and the boombox gimmick swing a poker or fire a revolver and a visible cooldown clock ticks before you can act again. Tense minimalism that predates Dark Souls stamina rings by nearly 2 decades. Ammo is sparing. Every miss feels like smacking your future self with a det notice. Spells arrive on self-immolating parchments and slot into 4 schools: destructors, protectors, enhancers, mystics, each paid for with precious stamina or candles. Then there's the absurd talisman, a boombox discovered in the Egyptian sub-level. Slap in a cassette, press play, and carrion fiends literally whiff more attacks because your mixtape phrased their concentration. Manual's wording, not mine. Walkman as holy relic. 1980s consumerism weaponized against 1890s evil, level layout, and environmental trickery. The mansion sprawls across 10 themed zones: the genteel ground floor, a bedroom-packed second story, the straitjacket sanitarium third, a museum fourth, stargazer observatory, twin basements, cultic temple, fish people sewer, and an eldritch other realm finale. Each layer foists fresh mechanics. Align the observatory's astrolabe to swing open astral doors. Flood a basement corridor, then zap the water with a live wire. Smash a specific hallway mirror to unveil a staircase, though each shatter risks spawning bullet-soaking mirror shades. Certain monsters aren't content to lurk. They'll wander through any door you leave ajar, turning every supply run back to the foyer stash into a nervous sprint. Sleep offers a gamble. Doze in a quiet corner and you might recover hit points, or you might plunge into a nightmare vignette where faceless surgeons prod you awake. Brusque reminder that rest is never free in Beacon Hill. Fear, willpower, and psyche. The game welds sanity to the willpower stat. Low willpower induces scream lock the first time you meet something with too many eyes. Your avatar literally freezes while the message log taunts. Paralyzed by terror. High willpower expands spell capacity, a sly suggestion that knowledge and courage share neural wiring. Consumables range from tasty snacks junk food for nibbling HP to tranquilizer pills that calm nerves but stagger dexterity. A pharmacological tightrope with pixel consequences. Household horrors. Our absurd throughline must make an entrance. Animate household items. Early on, a demon-possessed vacuum cleaner barrels down the corridor like a caffeine-addled Roomba. Later, a grandfather clock teleports you to the attic if you tamper with its pendulum, and kitchen chairs levitate into blunt missiles. Each encounter rewires domestic comfort into uncanny dread. I started naming them: Mr. Dustbuster, Count Clockula, Chaironomicon, and tracking personal kill counts. My notebook looked like a Macy's inventory crossed with a necromancer's diary. Legacy and influence MicroProse never greenlit a sequel. XCOM UFO mania paid the bills, so the legacy faded into cult obscurity. 1993 reviewers lauded its mood but moaned about memory hoops and novella-based copy protection riddles. A code literally hides in box fiction. Once Resident Evil hit consoles with voice-acted camp and CD-quality shrieks, DOS sprite corridors looked quaint, yet traces of Winthrop House echo through later horror. Ken Levine has credited MicroProse's early immersive sim experiments, including the UK studio behind the legacy, as inspiration for System Shock's diegetic interface work. Frictional's blog cited MicroProse mansion crawls when implementing sanity-based screen effects in Amnesia. The locked wing, grand foyer blueprint that defines Spencer Mansion feels like a high-poly love letter to Beacon Hill. Even if Capcom arrived at the concept independently, modding communities keep poking the corpse. Sprite sheets appear in Jeezy Doom conversions. DOSBox wizards upscale textures for 1080p haunted tours. Speedrunners toy with inventory overflow tricks to zip from foyer to finale in under 20 minutes, though the scene still debates which glitches qualify for any percent. Tabletop zines strip mine the willpower mechanic, transplanting it wholesale into indie cosmic horror rule sets. Why niche? Timing and branding. Party-based CRPG fans balked at the solo hero premise. Action junkies defected to Doom's Demon Carnival, and MicroProse's war sim faithful eyed the skull door box like it had strayed from the wrong aisle. Complexity didn't help. Mouse for movement, keyboard for icons, notebook for door codes. But dig beneath those rough edges and you find an atmospheric blueprint still teaching modern devs how to make wallpaper terrifying. Closing paragraph plus score. Fire up DOSBox today. Lock cycles around 8,000 and that VGA viewport still drips malevolence. Pixels the size of chiclets pulse under flickering sconce light. MIDI organs drone like a funeral dirge fed through dial-up static. And when Beltagor, the mansion's wheezing, many-eyed overlord, emerges to swat your brave heir across realities, you realize the legacy earns its title by bequeathing dread, not polygons. Indispensable for horror historians and courage junkies, undeniably. Casual jump-scare tourists may prefer their frights with modern FOV sliders, but me, I'll keep that boombox queued to track 666 and roam those parquet hallways until the vacuum cleaner comes for an encore. Final verdict, 8.1 out of 10, dust-rimmed, demanding, occasionally demented, yet a cornerstone in the crooked genealogy of games that taught haunted houses to speak VGA and bite back.